Thanksgiving Eve, biggest party night of the year. How drunk are you? And I'm not asking you that, Ben. That is the voice of my fill-in co-host tonight. My buddy Ben Davidson is going to sit in with me tonight on the Minnesota Pubcast. Molly is out of town, and Ben, of course, first thing he asked me, oh, where is she? I have no fucking idea. I'm not a nice guy. I didn't even bother asking. So thanks for pointing out my jerkness right away when you get here. I'm not surprised, Ben. But I bring in my buddy Ben tonight to talk. I want to start out a little wild. I want to keep this show light to begin with because it's going to end a little heavy. So I want to start it out. Ben, I'll never forget the conversation you and I had. I think Jesse Yellingbo, our buddy, was also involved 4 or 5 years ago maybe, and you were absolutely bashing the bandwagon Wild fans. And I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you were kind of saying too that this team's never going to be able to take it to that next level if people keep supporting this shitty product. First of all, am I right? Is that basically your take?
Pretty much 100% correct, I'd say, yes.
All right, so things have obviously changed, and I think the biggest change, obviously, since that conversation is the GM. I mean, that's why this club has taken off and made the moves it's made. But did you ever, when we were having that talk back then, did you ever see the Wild taking these steps and signing free agents like Parise and Suter, and then backing it up with a couple years later getting Vanek? Did you ever see your favorite hockey team ever doing this?
Now my favorite hockey team, before my least favorite hockey team, yes. Sooner or later I knew they'd take a step and start spending the ticket buyers' money.
Did they feel enough repercussion from the fans to do it, or is it just the change in GM, you think?
I think it was a change in GM. I don't know that the fans really cared. We talked in depth that night about a lot of things and how it seemed like our ignorant fans were going to show up over and over and over again. So they did. I don't really see I didn't see any heat coming back from the fans. Did you?
No. Unfortunately,
we were sold out every day.
Well, but they stopped selling out. They did stop selling out eventually a couple years ago, but I mean they were still selling 18,000 instead of 19,000. It's not like it was Florida.
Not like the fans in Florida the other night.
Right. It wasn't like there was 4 people in the stands and they had to give away tickets to get them to go. So that's why I want to ask you if you think you were right or wrong then, because at the time, I thought you were completely right. I thought that this was a club that just wasn't willing to make the moves, and they didn't have to because they had a fan base that was going to show up, sit in the club level, and have their drinks and bring their meeting guys there. And it was more about kind of a social status thing than it was actually about hockey. And without that, as we just said, really making a huge difference, it seemed that they still made that move. So would you say that we were all wrong when we had this conversation, because we assumed that this was just going to be, this was par for the course, this was how the Minnesota Wild was going to be run, and I think we would have all said at the time that it doesn't matter who the general manager is, this is just the team philosophy?
I'd say I was 100% wrong just because they shoved it back in my face and went out and got some players. I mean, Christ, what do you do? 4th of July, you end up signing a team like that? I mean, Parise, Sutter. Now we've got Nino Niederreiter in the mix. Was a joke.
One of the greatest trades of all time in hockey history. Cal Clutterbuck for Nino Niederreiter.
Can't remember Cal Clutterbuck. Girls loved him. I hated him. My son loved him. My son doesn't even remember his name anymore.
Cal Clutterbuck was the epitome of that Wild, of the previous Wild that we're talking about.
Sign him out of Houston. All of a sudden he's a superstar on a team with no superstars.
Because what? Because he could hit.
Any money.
Well, no. But why was he liked? He was liked because he would hit guys and he might shoot the puck.
I think the ladies liked him because he had a pretty smile. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know what was appealing to him.
I think that the typical Minnesota Wild fan, the one that we don't like, the one that will go to every game, they like Cal Clutterbuck. There was something. It was
the heating and air conditioning commercials, is what it was.
Those are pretty bad for low budget, or pretty good for low budget.
And he's been replaced by a real player, but
don't we just love the Islanders? Thank you so much, Garth Snow, But my point being there is that we've gone from the Cal Clutterbuck Wild to where not only was Cal Clutterbuck on the Wild, but he was liked. Now we have this brand new, completely different philosophy, way of looking at this team, way of building this team, that is the anti-Clutterbuck. That is we don't care what the fans like. We want a winning team. Now, good fans obviously like a Parisi, like a Suter, because they contribute to a winning team. But it's a different fan. I don't know if the same guy that loves Clutterbuck feels the same way about Parisi. I feel like you have to be a little bit stupid as a hockey fan to like Clutterbuck, so you wouldn't recognize what Parisi does necessarily.
I think it's the same fans going to games, Jason. Same fans are there.
Well, but there are 19,000 of them, so they're diverse. There's a different crowd in there.
The fact that they're actually going to win games now, but I think they're the same fans in the
arena.
You
don't think that a lot of those season ticket holders finally said, "Screw this, I'm out"? I mean, they would have sold them. It's not like they would have gone unsold.
I didn't see the Bolander suite and everything like that dropping off, so I don't know. The suites are all there. They're all still there. The everyday fan like myself, yeah, we dropped off.
Yeah.
We weren't going to show up to a game.
No, and I stopped caring about the Wild other than playoffs a couple years ago, and I'm a big hockey fan. So are you. So that says something. Well, let's talk about the new Wild. Let's talk about the Wild we have got. First, let's just go with your prediction. What do you think could happen this year? How far can they go? Are they going to stay where they are in the standings? Are they going to move back up? What's your take?
I'm baffled right now where they're at. I don't know why they're where they're at. They're 10 in the Western Conference right now. I have no idea why they're there. They're a much better team than they're playing. I don't know if they're holding off. I don't know if they're waiting for playoffs to show what they have. They showed what they had against Colorado early on. First game of the season.
I thought that was going to be the team we were going to get for the rest of the season.
Yep. Not it right now.
What is it then? What do you think needs to change?
I see them jumping up. I don't think they need to change anything. I think maybe they're not showing all their cards quite yet. You know, it's a long season. There's a lot of games to play.
Had a lot of injuries. Or a lot
sicknesses. Of injuries. We've obviously still have goalie problems on and off. It's a long season, and by the end of it, I think we'll be in the mix. Probably 6, maybe 5.
Okay, so it's gonna be a bottom seed.
We're gonna have to knock off a top team. Yep. We're gonna have to knock off a top team to do it. No doubt about it.
You were a goalie all the way through high school. What would you say about this goalie situation right now? I have been pro Kemper, anti Backstrom early in the season. Right now, I think you're more solid of the two is Backstrom. Right. Overall, right now, I would take Backstrom out of the two, but Kemper is your highest potential. I mean, if Kemper gets hot, I mean, that's who I want in the playoffs. I mean, that's who I want going forward. But right now, how do you analyze the goalie situation?
I agree with you. I think Mike Yo's doing it right by giving Backstrom playing time, but Darcy Kemper's the future of the team. I mean, Darcy Kemper's, he's a 6'5" goalie in the NHL that has big goalies. You need it. You got to have it.
How big is Quick?
Jonathan Quick's about, 6'1", 6'2"?
Okay, so he's a little shorter, but he's a big boy, too.
A little more flexible than Kemper, but he's a big boy. You know, Kemper's the future of the team. Play him 4 games, give Backstrom 1. That's the way it is. Whether he plays poorly, whether he plays good, he's the future of the team. He's going to be there in the playoffs. He's going to be the one winning games.
What do you say about, and I said this earlier on an edition of Wild Wednesday on Jeff Dubé's show, do you have to play, what's the word? I mean, does Yo have to be psychologist when it comes to Kemper, in that you don't let him get blown out 5-0. I feel like if he goes down 3-0, you pull him, and I think that Yo's been doing that because he's a kid, because he's worried about his overall confidence. I think that Backstrom right now between the two is the one he can handle a blowout, and you leave him in there. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I agree. You look at that Rangers game, pathetic.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
what do you say happened in that Rangers game?
It's all psychological.
But was it the team or just the goalie?
Goalie.
Really?
100%.
Okay, and that's a former goalie saying that, so I don't think you're the one that's going to throw a goalie under the bus.
Fell apart. 100% fell apart.
Because I felt like the team got super cocky in front of him. Now, he got cocky.
They're going to get a little bit arrogant. They're winning the game. They're beating
on the road in New York, yeah.
Why not? It's his job to pick him up in the end.
Yeah.
His job to hold him on his shoulders, and he didn't do it. He got worse and worse and worse as the third period went on, and the game was over. And that's, again, though, and like you said, that's between the ears. And that's, how old is he? He's a kid, too. He's, 23, something like that? 22? I mean, is he 24? I think he might be 24. He's still young.
Think of it at our age,
years into the NHL.
That young.
He's been playing junior hockey. He's young. He doesn't know what's going on just yet. He'll figure it out. Give him time. Give him Backstrom. Backstrom's done.
He is, but he's still playing pretty well. You know what?
He played 2 good games.
Yes, but he's healthy. I think the difference with him right now might be that he's healthy. He's always got that groin, And when you've got a bad groin as a goalie, if it's tweaking you at all, you're screwed.
One of Minnesota's biggest goaltenders ever, Rob Staubert, L.A. Kings.
As soon as he had that
groin.
groin.
Get rid of the groin.
Yep.
College, done.
Yep.
Never made it. That groin's going to nag him forever. He's never going to get back.
No,
never 100%.
I think that as we look down the road here, again, we're talking wild. I want to talk the big picture. If you really want the analysis of like the last week, up-to-date stats, all that stuff, go to Jeff Dubé's podcast, also on the Alive and Social network. Just go to aliveandsocial.com. You'll find all the shows. But big picture, what I think is the scariest part right now, and we're only 20 games into the season, we're only a quarter of the way through, but the scariest part right now is the goaltending, is because when it comes to the playoffs, it's all about goaltending. And right now, the Wild are playing well with decent goaltending, and I think that that's a thing that only lasts through the regular season. Once you get to playoffs, it doesn't matter how well you're playing in front of the goalie. You're playing against the best teams. You're playing against the best goal scorers. You have to have a hot goalie. Do you think... Well, okay, again, like we both said, we want Kemper to be that guy. We want to throw him into the situation in the first place. If he falters Game 1, Game 2, playoffs, does Backstrom have another season or another playoff run in him? Not another. Now that they've had a lot of playoff runs.
10, 11 games in the tank?
Yeah,
I don't know.
He could do it?
I think he might. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think Kemper was solid until he got hurt last year. I think Kemper will rise to the occasion. He's a goalie. He's been in the big spot plenty of times in his life. He'll be fine.
And I think that you have to give him that chance.
I don't see Backstrom even doing it. I mean, how many goalies did we play in the playoffs last year? 3?
We did, didn't we?
Yeah.
But it was all Brizgalov at the end of the season, though, right? To get us to that point? Didn't he play a bunch of games at the end, I thought?
He played a fair amount of games. Kemper went down in the playoffs, and Brizzy had to handle the remainder of it. But it was Kemper's there for the big spot. He'll be fine. Fine in the long run. As long as the team's not putting out the way they should right now either.
Right.
I mean, we look at goaltending. Our power play is miserable.
Yep.
Our goal scoring, I mean, you look at our big boys that we're signing, they're not exactly putting the puck in the net left and right.
Well, it sounds to me like you're talking about Thomas Vanek a bit there, and I want to ask you about him. I am not upset with Thomas Vanek right now. I think most people are. I think your average Wild fan probably thinks he sucks. He's third on the team in scoring, not in goals, but in points. And I mentioned this on Dubé's show too tonight. I want to get your take on it though, but he is not as fast as he used to be. He has lost a step or two. Do we maybe go, this is what he has to do with his game? Like, you become the facilitator instead of the goal scorer once you, I mean, as we saw, was that Niederreiter the other night that just took that 2 steps and was gone? I mean, Vanek's never doing that. Vanek is never going to be the guy that slips past the D and gets a breakaway. He's got to be the guy that can make other things happen, or am I wrong?
I don't necessarily believe he's a setup man for the rest of his career. He's a shooter. He's always been a goal scorer. When he was here at the U, he's been a goal scorer. So, I mean, he's still got him in him, and he's going to be a big spot goal scorer. So you get into the playoffs, he'll be a different player. You look at him with Montreal, much bigger player. You get him into the playoffs, the extra seat, remainder of the season, he'll be fine. I mean, Vanek can set people up, but get him in a big spot, and he'll put the puck in the net. A lot like, hopefully Parisi picks it up, puts the puck in the net. Suter's had a couple more goals than he had at this point last year. He'll be in good shape.
Suter's he's up there in points too for the team. So
yep.
I mean,
much better than last year. Last year I was major league disappointed in him.
Yeah.
But this year he seems to be producing a little bit more like we expected him to when we signed him. So
speaking of we mentioned the power play a little bit ago too, and Vanek. And so I want Vanek on the top line still, or on the top power play line. And I think, though, that what the problem probably is the way they're utilizing him. And tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I swear I remember highlights watching Montreal last year in the playoffs. He's just camped out in front of the net. He's a big guy. He's tipping the puck. He's doing all those kind of things, screening the goalie. I don't feel like we do that with him on the power play this year at all. Or am I not watching the games closely enough?
No, you're watching him. You're right on with that. He's not in front of the net camped out, but, I mean, we've got a lot more problems than that. We don't get shots. We don't keep the puck in the zone. We don't produce much of anything. We don't set up. It's been miserable the whole season. You know, Vanek in front of the net might help us out. Some shots on goal I'd be a lot happier to see.
And I agree that shots on goal are important, but they also have to be quality shots. And I think what you're kind of saying is that, and I mean, I feel like we do this when you play on the pond. I mean, where you try to get cute, and on the power play, especially when you're a professional hockey player and you got an advantage of an extra guy, you can do that. You can play around. You can get cute. But what I saw in those first couple of games against the Avalanche was a high-flying, moving, constantly moving your feet power play, where it was you never knew where a guy was going to be. So you couldn't just get in the passing lanes and take everything away, which is what it seems that the defenses are doing to us now. What the hell happened? What changed after those first two games in your mind? What did you see?
I don't know. The first two games I saw it cycling the puck well, getting the puck low. I mean, it's slowed down a lot. It's just slowed down. The whole game is slowed down. Whether it's power play, it's just slowed down. I don't know. Like I said, they've got something more in the tank, and I think there's something they're not showing, because there's no way that you can go from playing the first 3 games of the season like that to laying an egg on a power play for, 31 consecutive times?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's no way it can continue.
And it has come back around a bit, right?
Yeah, it's gotten a little bit better, but they're still not driving. Like you said, those guys were winging around the ice. I mean, those guys were moving.
It looked like a different type of hockey.
It looked like playoff hockey the first game of the season.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what I'm waiting for again. And I think you saw, I mean, in Florida this week, you did see at least a dominating first period again, where you just saw, like, you knew which was the better team. And I feel like we could watch a lot of Wild games this year and not know who is the better team, even though stats-wise, on paper, you know which one is better.
We blew a lot of shots on goal a lot of games. We're always on top on shots on goal. But the fact of the matter is, if they're not good scoring chances, it really doesn't.
But as you and I have watched the Wild since their inception, we were always beat in shots. I swear, Jacques Lemaire, I don't think maybe had a team that ever outshot another team. I mean, that was almost their MO. He would probably yell at them in the locker room afterward if they outshot the other team. Like, what the hell are you doing? Keep the puck in our end.
I agree.
I mean, it was fucking ridiculous. But now you've got a team that is shooting first. As much as we like to bitch about Vanek not scoring goals, this team is shooting. They are not afraid to shoot. And I do think that on the power play, it's all about quality shots. I think in regular strength, it's more about get that fucking puck toward the net. You got to get it down there. 90% of goals in the NHL are goofy. It's not about the pretty goal, especially even strength.
Well, even on the power play, you got to throw the puck net. You got to throw the puck at the net. You got to throw the puck in low. Like we said, they're not taking time to set up necessarily. Like you were. You're saying that they're trying to be too pretty. I disagree. I think they're rushing it a little bit. I mean, yeah, we want to get the puck down low. We want to get the puck in front of the net, and whatever happened to bouncing off the goddamn goalie's pads and getting a fucking rebound.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't have to be that pretty. Sure, one-timers off the fucking slot look great, but it doesn't have to be that pretty.
No, those angled shots to get a rebound can be just as quality as a shot from the slot. I mean,
yep.
And I think that's actually one of the things that I've noticed this year that the Wild don't do at all. Like, they're never looking. Maybe I'm going to contradict myself a bit. I feel like the Wild of old, all they did was that.
Toss
they
the
just
puck at
shot
them.
it at the right.
Well, that's because they
threw
were
it at the net so somebody could rebound.
Their scheming was so poor they didn't have any zone time. They were never in the offensive zone, so they had to throw the puck at the net.
Right.
Now they cycle the puck well. They get it deep. They get pucks at the net, but the fucking garbage goals they're not there anymore.
Right.
And they got to get back to some garbage goals every now and again.
So again, put Vanek in front of the net. But what is that then? I do think when we go up against the LAs like we are tonight, and some of these more physical teams, the Wild, they have some size, but they also are a little weaker. I mean, Parise is the best example of he is not a big guy. He can't go up against a 6'4", 250 wing. But he doesn't have to very often either. But when you get to the playoffs, you do. And so my question is this team physical enough to endure an 82-game season and into the playoffs, being that I don't feel like they're that big?
Yeah, I agree. I think they're small. I think they're the Minnesota Gophers of the NHL right now. I mean, we've got tiny college kids, tiny NHL guys. I mean, it is what it is. We've got Coyle. He's a big boy. He can handle it out front, but yeah,
he's not impressing this year, though.
I don't think he's real impressive, but he's a young kid. Just we talked to goalie's a young guy. Kemper, our future's bright here right now, a lot brighter than it has been in the I don't think they've got the strength to go up against the big boys in front of the net. But they certainly have the speed and the quickness to make up for it. So,
in the next, let's just, like I said, we're talking big picture Wild stuff today. So, do you need to add? Okay, and I think we're going to go into the playoffs this year. I think we're going to go fairly deep. I think we'll win at least the first round, maybe a second round. But we're not winning the Stanley Cup this year. I mean, I'm going to put that out there right now.
You didn't put it on 12-1 odds in Vegas? You didn't put it? You didn't put your money on it?
It's only 12-1?
12-1.
Well,
it was 6-1 to get there. It was 6-1 to get there. And if they get there, they're winning it.
I would say that. I think if they get there, they have just as good of a chance as anybody. But I don't think they're going to make it there this year. But so in the future for this team, because this team's going to be good for 4 or 5 years minimum. Do they need to add some bigger guys? And if so, give me a type of guy. Throw out a name where it's at least the style of guy that you would want to add to the Wild.
Stamkos.
Well, who wouldn't want to add that?
That's about all we need to add.
Is that the type? I mean, you only need probably one player right now.
We've got every piece of the puzzle we need. I mean,
what do you think of Yo? How is that side of it going?
I think if he's not playing his whole deck right now and it backfires on him, I think he's going to be looking at the rear end of the taillights shortly.
You mean if they don't make the playoffs or something, or what? Mm-hmm. I mean, they'd have to not make the playoffs for him to get fired. Yeah. What about first round loss? He's not going to get fired if they make the playoffs. He's fine.
Not getting fired for first round loss.
Okay, he better not. Like I'm not in love with Yo.
I think he's okay. I mean,
he's fine.
Dry sense of humor. He's a little bit boring to talk to when he's talking about riding his mountain bike or whatnot. But other than that,
I don't want to have a beer with him.
No, neither do I.
No.
Seems like a damn nice guy though. It's a little bit boring.
Which is fine. As a head coach, I don't want you to be that exciting, to be honest.
I agree. You can't be Ozzie Guillen, that's for sure.
No, I want you to be a bit boring because you need that even keel. You need that. I think that type of personality is the leader, that a club like this needs. You know what? And he's grown up with them. I think that we've watched Mike Yo as a coach kind of grow up and kind of learn, and I think the thing that I really want him to fully grasp, and I think he's getting there, is this whole, it's your team. You don't have to just cater to veterans. You don't have to play Healy.
Are you talking about
Heatley? Because, of course, that's where I'm going. But like last year, Heatley is on the power play, and Heatley's considered like an integral part of this team. When we all knew he was 2 years past being an impact player. If Yo could please, and I know this doesn't really matter, but it pisses me off. Get that fucking C off his jersey. I don't even care if nobody else gets it. Just take it off of his. He's not a captain.
He's not even a top line center anymore. I mean, he's slow. He's looks overweight in the face. I mean, his head's as swelled up as mine is, for Christ's sakes. I don't know. He's just not. He's not what he used to be, and I don't think he ever was. He's sure shit isn't his brother. He's power play, first line center, second line center. He's a third line center. I love him at third line. Captain, no way.
No, and we all know, obviously, Parise's the captain, right, of this team. Suter should be your alternate, which he is, right? And then who else is the other alternate? I don't even know.
I don't even pay attention to the
and that doesn't matter. The only reason that an alternate matters is to speak to the refs. I mean, literally, that's the only thing that means. But I do think, as even though I just said it doesn't matter, the C, it should still be earned.
Unless he's a huge locker room presence, which I haven't heard that he is.
Who is?
Koivu?
No,
Koivu's not a huge locker room.
Oh, he's timid. I've seen him in the locker room. He's timid.
Parise's fairly quiet too, though. At the same time, I mean,
that's true.
He leads by example, maybe a little bit, but he's
better with
guy.
the media. I think that's an important part of a leader. Just because, you know what? Because I think Parise's in a position. I don't think he's ever done this, but he's in a position where he can kind of call somebody out if he needed to. He would do it very subtly. He's so nice and he's so perfect for Minnesota, actually. But I think that right now he's in that position where he can kind of needle somebody if he needed to, whereas actually that's what the coach should be doing. But I think Parise's in that position where he could, because he is the vocal leader of this team. And he is, he's the money quote guy. I mean, that's who everybody goes to talk to, too. That's who the media wants to talk to, because he can speak very well. Does he give you anything you want to hear? No. And that's why the Wild will let him continue to do it.
Face of the franchise. He's never going to throw anybody under the bus.
He'll never actually say anything that would hurt the team in any way, but I would love to see him if he would kind of call some people out. And I don't even think anybody needs to be called out right now, but I think that down the road, this year, later in the playoffs, next year, you need a guy like that. He should be the captain, and he should be the one that has that power and has that role of I'm going to say it's your time to step up.
What about Palmerville?
Is there anybody as good as him that's that quiet and not known?
I feel like he's the best player of the team, but down low, inside, he's got to be the biggest asshole out there.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I just feel like he's quiet. He's not real. He scores a lot of goals. He's a good player. I think maybe he's probably the one stepping up and calling people out in the locker room.
No, you're right. It wouldn't surprise me if behind the scenes he would be doing that kind of stuff. But that's the Minnesota Wild. That's their vibe. But God, wouldn't you like a guy that can score some goals, to have a little pizzazz too? Like, I don't want an asshole. I don't need a prick, but I want a guy that's not afraid to kind of, I don't know, to have some personality. Yes, that too.
There is no personality. It doesn't seem like between any of them. But
when Parisi's your personality,
Cook's got a lot of personality, and people shun him when he came.
That's just it.
I tell you what, I got a story about Cook. We were where were we? We were at Octagon training in Edina, Braemar Arena. Took my son up there. Waited for about an hour and a half after a bunch of NHL players go out there. Cook was out there, still at his truck from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania license plate. We're out there for about an hour and a half, and Cody, waiting around for an autograph, jumps on the hood of his truck, leaves a note with his address, wants a signed card, leaves it on his deal. Cook comes walking out. Says, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing on my truck?" Didn't swear at him, but wondering what the hell's this kid doing crawling on my jacked up 2500 diesel pickup. Right. Signed his card, shook his hand, said, "Nice to meet you." Nicest guy you ever talked to.
And isn't that what you want? Yeah. From that guy?
Nice guy to your face, asshole on the ice. That's what we want.
That's and that's what the Wild is against. The Wild would actually rather you be in. Well, they just don't ever want you to be an asshole, which is, and you know what? That's going to be the difference, maybe. Other than goaltending, when it comes to playoffs, you got to have an edge. You got to have a little bit you got to strike a little fear in your opponent.
A little bit of grit would be nice. I mean, Cook, is he back tonight? Do you know if he's back tonight?
We were talking about the hip flexors, the injury. I don't think he's back yet.
I know he was on the ice this morning.
Yeah, they were talking about he was skating in warm-ups today, so he's not going to be playing. But he's close. And Jesus, did you ever expect the productivity out of him? I mean, it's one thing to be a physical presence and to be that prick that we need out there.
Doing drawing penalties, knocking people's teeth out. It's another thing to score goals.
He scored goals on the fourth line. We have never had a fourth line. Have we ever had a goal on a fourth line for the Wild? I mean, obviously hyperbole, but
not like we did last year. That's for sure.
No, this team is so different. It's night and day compared to the team that we've watched for many, many years, and it's so refreshing. But as we've been saying, there's still a couple of more steps to take. And I don't think they're taking them this year. It would be awesome if they did. I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong, because I'm an optimistic pessimist. So I'm always assuming the worst, and then when I'm wrong, I'm happy. But I don't expect anything too crazy out of the Wild this year. But they're adding the pieces. I think that's a piece right there. That's a little edge that they need. They need another guy or two that brings that little edge that can again, like I said, strike a little fear in your opponent. Because the Wild still. They're Mickey Mouse. They're so, and I think that's how the league looks at them too. They're so just damned friendly. They're so Minnesota nice, which isn't a thing, by the way, but it sure as hell is when it comes to our sports teams. And I think that the Wild are kind of the epitome of Minnesota nice, and they've got to flip that script if they really do want to. If they really think they have a chance at a cup. Anything to add?
I got nothing.
Did I nail it?
I got nothing. You nailed it on that.
All right. Well, then it's perfect time to take a really quick break, and then we're going to come back, and I want to talk a little Thanksgiving. Keep it light, and then, like I said, we're going to get a little deep and a little heavy on the Ferguson stuff, just because last night, I mean, we had a guest on Jeff Dubé's show and talked about it the entire hour. And I threw in my 2 cents here and there, but I definitely didn't get to tell you what I really think about this situation. So we're going to give Terry Daniel a second to promote himself, and we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about some Thanksgiving meal stuff, and then we're on to Ferguson.
Hi, I'm Terry Daniel, and I've been a voice actor in Minneapolis for over 2 decades now. How often are you getting compliments on your voice? Now is the time to do something about it. If you're interested in getting into voiceovers, please contact me via my website at universalvoicetalent.com.
All right, that was Terry Daniel. Thank you so much, Terry, for being our voiceover guy now on the Alive and Social Network. Real quick reminder, if you are listening to this live, get on down to Shamrocks later tonight. We are live at Burger Mo's. Come down here before every Wild game and every other night, but go down to Shamrocks tonight. You got the band down there with the Alive and Social Network, and then we've got Friday nights. I believe this week we're still doing the live karaoke at O'Gara's. No Minnesota Pubcast tomorrow night from O'Gara's because it is Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving! And speaking of Thanksgiving, I put it out today on Facebook. I just quick little poll. Knew I'd only get a few responses because I sent it out so late, but. Just asked, what's the best part of Thanksgiving? This is so talk radio typical, but I feel like whenever I talk about typical talk radio stuff, it's just in my nature to not talk about it typically. So hopefully this falls into that category. But I just put it out there, hey guys, what do you think is the best part of Thanksgiving? Threw out 4 options. The food, family, football, and the partying the night before. This is the night before Halloween, the biggest party night in, at least in this country. And, the answers I got were goddamn predictable. I mean, they were, but most people are throwing out family. I get that because the only time I see my family is Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, you gotta, if you don't enjoy it those 2 days a year, I mean, Jesus Christ, just stay away from your family. But you got a couple of a couple of people throwing out all the above, which wasn't a fucking option. Yeah, so mostly family wins out. Ben, when you think of Thanksgiving and you think of the best part of it, is the first part, hey, I get to go see a bunch of relatives?
Sweet potatoes with marshmallows.
Thank you. It's food. God damn it, it's the food. That's the first
thing. Sweet potatoes with marshmallows.
Nap. Food. Yes, and football
beer,
and beer. Yes.
Football.
Yes. The unbuttoned top, or the unbuttoned pants, because you got to let that belly out a little, and then just napping while watching football. That's what Thanksgiving is about, and the nap is brought on by the food coma. So the family just happens to be there, and I love my family. No offense, but that's not what you think about.
They're
first
there
when
all
it comes
the time,
to
though.
Thanksgiving. I
mean, the family's there all the time. Or at least my family's there all the time.
Well, and I don't have kids or anything, so I don't see my mom and my dad as often, and I definitely don't see the cousins and stuff that often as I would if I had a kid. And I'll throw all this out there too. My nephew isn't going to be at my Thanksgiving, which when I go to holidays now, my nephew's 3, so the last 3 years, what I spend the entire time doing is just playing with him. So it's almost like being at home, but yet I'm just with the family. But
it's more fun because he's not yours.
Exactly.
Great time. Kids are fun to play with.
I love it.
Especially when they're not yours.
And especially when they're not yours. And I mean, I live with my sister, so I live with my nephew, but I will say it is, and I know anybody who thinks that, oh, well, you live with a kid, it's the same as if it was yours. Absolutely not. I get to close that door and say, no, he's yours. You
have a lot more
patience
with them when they're not yours.
That's true, too. But you know what? But living with them too, I've also learned the reason for not having the patience. Like I hear my sister yelling at him, and then I'm just straight to yelling too. Like I I want to just smack the shit out of him, even though we don't do that, and we're not into the old AP way of taking care of our kids. But so, and I found this, and I want to get your take on this. The best side dishes to have on Thanksgiving. Now, I don't know where the hell I found this. It's from Vox.com, but I think I found it on Facebook or something. But this is a very interesting chart, Ben, and obviously you guys can't see it, so we'll explain it to you. But it's just a normal little graph, and it's appreciation on one side, that's the vertical axes, and then the horizontal is bites. So as you take more bites, the appreciation either stays the same, goes up, goes down. It looks to me, mashed potatoes and stuffing, you can't fuck them up. They go, and they are great throughout the meal, for seconds, thirds, doesn't matter. Mac and cheese, that has never been at my Thanksgiving. Has that been on your table at Thanksgiving?
Never once.
So that one's fucking gone. Next is the cranberry sauce.
Miserable.
Starts out really high, and then just bottoms out. That's awful. And I like cranberries. I dare you tomorrow, though, if you've never done this, take a sip of milk right after you ate those cranberries. And then you'll never want to listen to my show again, and you'll hate me. So after the...
Straight out of the can, cranberries?
Nothing wrong with them.
Nothing wrong with them?
No.
Okay.
I don't mind cranberries. I've never had a problem with cranberries.
Cranberry
like I
juice?
said, mix it with milk.
Great for a bladder infection, I heard.
Cranberry juice, a little vodka? Sure.
Delicious, yeah.
I have no problem with that. So then you step down to the rolls. Now, I don't understand how the rolls goes down over time. Why?
Over like a week, maybe, because they get dry.
Right. Through the Thanksgiving meal, I can't imagine me going, well, right at the beginning I really wanted a roll, but now they've been wasted. No. What's changed?
I think the rolls are good the whole way.
I agree.
Dip them in the mashed potatoes.
Then you got the green beans, and usually it's green bean casserole, at least here in Minnesota. I'm not sure what it's like for you, Ben, but and I had a friend's Thanksgiving last week.
A lot of times we've got cranberries in the green beans.
Really?
Yeah.
By accident, or is that actually
on
a
purpose.
thing? Really?
Dried cranberries in the green beans.
That's
delicious.
Next Thanksgiving,
You'd
if
like
it doesn't happen tomorrow. So green beans, we're sticking with the graph here. They stay about the same. They actually, which is weird, halfway through the bites on this little graph, and there's no math to this fucking graph. It's just interesting.
It's the only one that doesn't plane out.
Yeah, the green beans go up a little, and then they stay at the same level. They never go down. The turkey, everybody wants turkey right away. I usually grab too much, but I almost always don't go for seconds on the turkey, and that's what this graph is showing too. How about you?
Unless it's deep fried in oil.
See, and I've never done the
deep
fried
fried in
turkey.
oil, I'm going back. It's wet, it's moist, it's delicious.
Do you
just
eat
can't
anything
beat it.
else if you're eating
Flavor
deep fried
injected
turkey?
with some Cajun shit, it's amazing. Other than that, the turkey in the oven with some butter stuffed in it, just boring, dry.
You know what?
Shitty by the end of the day.
That's what that graph is showing.
Let's eat
It's the
some sandwiches. We might
dries
be
out.
thinking later in the week, too, because you got turkey sandwiches for a whole week.
What do you mean
Nobody
later in the
can
week?
eat 'em.
3 hours after dinner we do the turkey sandwiches. What do you mean? That's seconds.
Where's the pie at on that chart? I don't
Where's
see
the
pie.
fucking pie? Now we're gonna go back. There's another chart here we're gonna get to, but I don't think pie was on that. But I have to do two things with this last item. One, it's sweet potato casserole. I don't think I've ever had sweet potato casserole. I've had.
My sister makes the best sweet potato casserole on earth.
What is in it?
Brown sugar, sweet potatoes, nice golden brown marshmallows.
Okay, so maybe
Amazing.
I
You've
have
had
it. I
it.
just never called it a casserole.
It's in a glass dish. It's a casserole. It's Minnesota McGuff.
That's true. Well, I have to give a little shout out to, like I said, we had Friendsgiving last weekend, and I expected to have good food. Whenever you go to a Thanksgiving type of meal, you expect good food. It's pretty hard to mess up turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy. Those are the staples for me. That's what I expect to be good, and the rest of it can be mediocre. Now, the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the gravy, all that was fucking phenomenal on Friendsgiving. But then you throw in a green bean casserole that I'm not a big green bean casserole guy. Phenomenal. And then the sweet potatoes, it was, I like sweet potatoes. I've always been into the whole thing. Like you said, topped with the marshmallows, all that kind of stuff. Big fan. But I've never had any kind of sweet potatoes that it seemed like it was dessert. It was... And they probably had too much sugar, but I'm not complaining. It was literally like I thought I was eating sweet potato candy. It was so phenomenally good.
That's how I feel like every time I eat it. That's all it is. It's sugar, marshmallows, and sweet potatoes.
Well, my point is that my friends
You
Marie
can
and
cut the
Shelby
pie out.
nailed it. Like
Nailed
like
it.
I said, I've always liked it, but
Nailed
theirs was even better than
I'll
normal.
bring you some.
Oh, well,
You're
you
gonna
might
love
have
it.
to. You might have to.
Promise.
Then we've got so here's where to what you were already kind of talking about. So now the next chart, next graph, next whatever, is about how it goes over time, how long it's been out, and then where it goes as you get longer in the day. I agree. The one that starts at the top and then shoots down is the stuffing.
Drops right the fuck off.
I'm sorry, 1 sec. No, thank you. I am good. Do you need a beer, bro?
Take a extra pail, please.
And we do that all the time. We order on the air because we don't give a shit. This is a podcast. We're having fun.
Stuffing's miserable.
The stuffing is the
Sometimes
worst
it's
after that
miserable
first
right
round.
out of the gate, though. Do you like
Yeah,
soggy
true.
stuffing right out of the gate?
Not soggy, no,
Dude,
but not
some
too
people
dry
like that.
either.
I like it dry.
Really?
I like it crispy, almost burnt
okay.
on the top.
Yeah, burnt on the top is good, but I think that there's a dryness factor that you get too dry, it's bad, and I agree. If it's soaked,
Too
that's
soggy
disgusting.
just makes you want it. It's
No, and
like
I would-
you've already
I would
eaten
lean
it
dry, I
and
agree.
regurgitated it. Miserable.
It does look like that too. And then you get the other one that again shoots down after it starts out top, but not as bad as stuffing, the mashed potatoes. Again, I love the mashed potatoes right away, but you're right. Once they're cold,
Dry out.
yeah, and they're dried out.
Opposite of the stuffing. You
done.
hate them.
Done with them.
Can't melt enough butter on them.
Now we're at the very opposite, and I think that there's a reason for this, but the one that stays at the top in availability the whole time is that sweet potato casserole.
It's goddamn sweet potatoes. They're there every time.
But apparently most of the time it sucks. I think that's the thing.
Is that why it stays the same?
I think so. Because it's always available because nobody's taking it.
I don't eat sweet potatoes one time all year.
Me too.
Never.
It's just
sweet potato fries. Shut up. Don't want them.
I don't either.
Sweet potatoes, anything. Outback Steakhouse, don't give me a sweet potato. Give me the big one, stuffed with bacon and all the other shit. But on Thanksgiving, sweet potatoes are good for 2 days.
I completely agree. And why is that a 1 day a year thing? And so then we have three things that pretty much stay level their entire existence. The green beans, Brussels sprouts, which, by the way, I only eat at nice restaurants.
On salads.
No, I will actually get them as a side. But it has to be like with a perfect sauce. There has to be a certain thing. I won't just eat Brussels sprouts. I can't just eat boiled Brussels sprouts.
Fettuccine Alfredo sauce, real good. Brussels sprouts.
You know what? Press the tape button on that box. There's like a CD tape button. If that doesn't work, I will take 1 second for my show and come and help you, but I bet it will work. My boss here at Burger Moser is trying to get the audio to play for the Wild game, and I know exactly what her problem is. It's one button that needs to be pushed on that box, and I'm an idiot and didn't push it, but hopefully it will work right now. Otherwise, we're going to take a 1 minute break from the old podcast. Sounds like it's working. That do it? My bad. All right, anyway, so, again, we're at Burger Mo's. Come on down, watch the game. You don't have a ticket, obviously, because you're listening to me. Come on down, check out the Wild game at Burger Mo's. 60 beers on tap. You cannot go wrong with any of them. Great food. I mean, Ben, you've been down here before. You like the food? You a fan of this stuff?
Kevin Moore.
Yeah, exactly.
The Kevin Moore burger.
With the old Kevin Moore, if you're really hungry.
If you're really hungry.
You
and you want to
really
spend $15 on a burger.
And,
that thing is not cheap. They're not giving it away. It's enormous.
You
worth every penny.
2 patties and
can't
onion
finish
rings
it.
And shit. It's
May
crazy.
as well tag team it.
I have watched guys eat that aside and get as their side instead of fries cheese curds, and I swear to God, get like dessert or have a appetizer before that. Now these are guys that weigh 350 pounds, but still crazy, scary,
major artery problems,
and may not live to 54. But still, come on down, Burger Mo's. So that we talked about the Brussels sprouts, the cranberry sauce that stays even. The cranberry sauce is the one thing where if I do want seconds, it's I don't feel like it's even doing anything to me. It doesn't fill my belly or anything, so it's just shit. If it's there, sure, throw it on the old plate. The turkey dramatically goes down. Mac and cheese, again, why is that a Thanksgiving meal? Goes dramatically down.
Is there anything worse than leftover macaroni and cheese?
No, I don't think there is.
Would eat leftover macaroni and cheese?
It's awful. It's
dry,
so unnecessary.
Terrible, soggy noodles.
No.
Miserable.
Ugh, awful. And then, again, the fucking rolls. Why do they go down? It's bread. I mean, okay, hold on. Unless you're talking about it's been left out so long that it's actually become, like, hardened and dried. That's the only reason.
I think the rolls are good for a week. I mean, you take the rolls. We freeze bread at my house.
Yeah.
Why not? Tastes like shit when it comes out of the freezer.
But it lasts, right?
But it lasts.
Keeps that,
the rolls,
keeps the fresh.
There's no way they get bad in 2 days.
No. The rolls are fucking, they're always phenomenal. Go grab 3 more.
By the way,
and
you're
they will
using
stuff
the
you up,
F word a lot more than I've heard you on this show in the past.
I'm sorry.
Because
I've had a couple of beers. It's mostly because of you. I mean,
it's one of my favorite words.
We went to high school together. Maybe it's just like the F-bombs of our past are coming out. I don't know. I apologize for those of you who are quickly offended. All right, it's time to get deep. We've got 16 minutes left in the show. As I said, we talked about the old Ferguson grand jury last night on Jeff Dubé's show. Jeff went over the whole testimony of Darren Wilson. I'm not going to do that. This is, again, I like to do broader, just take a step back kind of looks at things. So let me just kind of break this down for you a little bit. I have a few different things that I think are interesting about this whole thing. First of all, let me say, I think both people involved in this thing were wrong. What Darren Wilson did was wrong. What Mike Brown did was wrong. Let's start at the beginning. Mike Brown stole some cigarillos. Now, I still don't even know if I actually believe that the cop, that Wilson knew that at the time that he had his interaction with him. But let's just say he did. Let's go with their story. I personally have done much worse than steal a pack of cigarillos. I have stolen all kinds of stuff from convenience stores as a teenager. I stole more than that, more valuable stuff than that as a teenager as well. I being a smart teenager, once I turned 18, realized, I could actually get in real trouble for this. I should stop. But obviously Michael Brown didn't quite, he's not quite on the same page with me there. But my point of that being that doesn't make you a thug. That doesn't make you a criminal. That society needs protection from. That he stole some cigarillos. Another aspect I want to bring up is that I don't necessarily think that this was a white on black thing. As much as this has been turned into a racial issue, I think that it's just as important to point out that I think it's more of a cop versus black thing. I want to let that sink in a second. It's a cop versus black thing. I know black cops that talk about how they discriminate just as much as a white cop would. They're the one. They also, they're worried about their own safety and all that stuff too. Welcome Ben back. Ben had to run to the old restroom real quick. I'm just bringing up the Ferguson stuff. The first thing I said was, and I'd love to get your take on any of this. So feel free to jump in.
Hold on 1 second, McGuff.
No, go ahead.
We're 4 minutes into the first period, and it's 4-2 LA.
Holy shit! No, that's shots. That's shots. Right? Am I nuts? I swear to God, it's 0-0 with 4-2 in shots. Go double check on that, because that's important. Because there's no way it's 4-2 4 minutes in. Bear with us, folks. Be just 1 second. Ha! Told you I wasn't. I'm right?
You are right.
I was gonna say, how many beers have you had? Jesus.
A fair amount.
4-2 in 4 minutes. Holy shit. All right. So anyway, the Ferguson stuff, and I am curious to get your take on this, Ben, because I have a feeling it's going to be at least a little bit different than mine. The first thing I said was that I think that both people were wrong in this case. I think the cop fucked up. I think Michael Brown fucked up. And actually, I'll explain that a little bit. I think that Wilson screwed up by going up to two people walking down the street. And I believe the friend of Michael Brown on this. And I don't believe the friend of Michael Brown on many things, but I do believe that the first thing the cop said was, get the fuck on the sidewalk. First of all, Ben, what do you think? Do you think that's plausible?
Possibility.
I think that's absolutely plausible, at least.
Yeah.
So he
what did he do before he said, get the fuck on the sidewalk?
He drove past him. I don't know. What, you mean Michael Brown or Wilson, the cop?
Michael Brown.
Michael Brown, he stole some cigarillos from down the street.
Beat the shit out of the store owner in the liquor store?
He pushed him. From what I know and from what the video showed, he shoved him. Right. And I said this when you were away. I stole from convenience stores as a youngster. I stole valuable shit from other stores as a youngster. Way more valuable. I wasn't going to throw out specifics, but I think we
can name names here. I don't think they're coming to get you.
I think that the statute of limitations might be gone by now, but
expired.
We ripped the shit off of all kinds of retailers as teenagers.
Did you have holes in all of your polo shirts?
And we went to school with them, and our teachers never said a word. I always found that interesting because you knew they.
Not everybody had money to buy them. I mean,
no.
How are you gonna look cool for free?
And how do I have 3 weeks worth of Abercrombie gear where I don't have to wear the same thing once?
I remember my brother sold them out of his car.
So you know what? Yeah, what a thug! What a thug! Stealing merchandise and selling it out of his car. Thug. We should shoot him. Thank God that obviously never happened. But so where I'm saying that Wilson was wrong is that he starts out as instigating. Like you could have said, okay, let me back up. I think the whole thing here happened because we've lost a sense of the police work for us. The police are not supposed to be above the citizenry. They're supposed to work for the citizenry. So when you step into a situation where I'm in charge of the citizenry, I'm going to tell you to get the fuck on the street or off the street, instead of I am below the citizenry, I'm going to speak to the citizen as that and say, hey, sir, would you mind getting off the street? I guarantee you didn't call him sir, which, frankly, I don't care who he is, he should. If it's another human being in his community and he's a police officer, he should refer to him as sir. And he should say, sir, you're blocking traffic, get off the street. Guarantee that's obviously not what was said. Now, let's obviously go the other. Well,
I've got one more for you.
Go ahead.
Is there any odds you think that he may have already run into him before or known him prior?
I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything saying that these two had ever had a run-in before.
What's the population of Ferguson, Missouri?
I don't know. I'm going to guess
15,
it's something like 20,000.
20,000?
Yeah, something like that. It's not a tiny town, but it's not big in any way either. And it's mostly black.
We grew up in a town of 20,000?
Yeah, Cottage Grove was like 20, 25 when we were there.
Police knew some of us.
Yes, they did.
I think they knew him.
But I don't feel like Brown didn't have a history. He had no criminal history. Okay. This guy hasn't. So maybe even if he had a run-in with the cops, he'd never been charged.
Exactly.
Well,
I don't have a criminal history either.
This is true. And yes, a couple of cops might have even known my name. But, okay, so now let's focus on Brown a little bit, where he obviously screwed up too. And I want to, and Ben, I think you're going to have a lot of trouble with this, but you let me know. I think we got to step back a little bit, especially as a couple of white dudes in fucking Minnesota. There goes another F-bomb, sorry. We can't understand what it's like to live 18 years being afraid of the police, thinking that the police are after you, thinking that white people are after you. Whether they are or not, that's not the point. The point is that this guy most likely grew up with those preconceived notions, that he is looked at as an enemy and as a bad person no matter what. So let's just throw that in there. And Ben, I think you can relate to this a little bit too, is where we were kind of pricks as kids, so we can relate to that.
I was a little bit afraid of the police when I was a kid.
But you were a prick to him too, a little bit, right? Weren't you maybe a little bit of a...
I think I was scared to him.
Once they
showed up, I probably shut up.
Okay. Well, obviously...
I mean, if they showed up when you were stealing from Abercrombie, I bet you went to bed...
I would have run for the hills. But my point is that I think that it's really easy to just say, look at this situation at this exact time and what happened, and this is how it should have gone down. But what I'm saying is you add in the history. You add in the fact that Michael Brown has never looked at cops as being on his side. I have. I've always looked at cops as being on my side, unless, like you said, I'm stealing from Abercrombie or getting busted with weed when I'm 16 or something. But for the most part, I looked at as cops as they're there if I have an emergency. I don't think that a lot of black people, especially in Ferguson, Missouri, look at the cops as like an answer to anything. They look at him as the antithesis of an answer. And I think that he looked at this guy, and this guy pulled up to him and said, "Get the fuck off the street." And he said, "Fuck you. I am so tired of this shit. Go fuck yourself." And he probably picked the wrong time to do that. And then, of course, where it becomes a bigger issue is when it becomes a physical altercation. I can understand hating cops. I can understand not believing that they're out for your own good. I can understand thinking they're racist. I can understand all of that. But the second you get physical with a cop, now you're fucked. You're fucked.
You're done. You can't get physical. It's whatever happened to respect for authority. I mean, their authority. It doesn't matter if you like them, you hate them, you're scared of them. What happened to respect for authority?
Well, kids I think don't have it authority is being blurred a bit. That's what I think is happening. I think that, because I agree. I think, and I've always, if I get pulled over, it's, "Yes, sir. What did I do, sir? Sorry, sir. Had a couple of drinks. May I go?" It's all as nice as I possibly can, and I've gotten away a couple of times where they might have said, "Hey, why don't you step out, take the breathalyzer," and I didn't get it because I said, "You know what, sir? Whatever I can do, you tell me." So if you handle the police the right way, yes, it works out to your advantage. If you're scared of them in a way, that's probably a little bit of a good thing. But I also think I hate authority. I mean, ask any boss I've ever had, and they'll tell you I drive them fucking nuts. I don't like this thought of, well, the government can tell us what to do. The police are a arm of the government, and as a damn near atheist, to me, I hate the cops. I hate the government. I hate the thought of it.
What does atheist have to do with the police?
Did I say atheist?
You said atheist.
I meant anarchist.
Anarchist sounds a little bit more
atheist
like
has nothing
atheist
to do with that.
That's a Bible thing.
Well, I bet there's a lot of atheists that agree with me. No, I'm just kidding. But
probably.
But so I think that there's a little bit of a... I think there's a swelling, actually, in this country of screw authority. And I hope it shouldn't be screw specific cops. But I think that it's become kind of just like, screw you, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. And I think that that's trickled down. I mean, no one is a fan of Congress anymore. They get like a 12% approval rating. Everyone thinks that the government is out to get them. Not everyone, but I think there's a majority now where this country is so sick of the status quo, so sick of the way it's been done, that they're like, well, no, I want a new way. And Michael Brown's way obviously isn't the right one. But there's got to be this middle ground where we can say, screw authority. You guys don't get to tell us how to live. You guys don't get to, because I'm black, you don't get to tell me whatever you want and make me do whatever I want. And I think that that's where all of this stems from. Like, this is not there's a reason this is bigger than just Michael Brown and Darren Wilson. This is because black people are afraid of cops. This is because the citizenry in general is a little bit afraid of cops these days. I keep reading, and I have a Facebook friend that posts these things constantly, and you can be very skewed by how things are covered. But you hear more and more about cops going to a situation where, like, someone was going to commit suicide, or someone was having a medical issue, and they go there and somebody ends up getting shot. Like, why is the first inclination, the first weapon Darren Wilson admits going for in this whole altercation is the gun? Why is it looked at as okay to kill the citizenry? That's what's scary through all of this.
Well, why is it? I don't know, and I'm going to tell you right now, I hate to disagree with you just to disagree, but I disagree with just about everything that's coming out of your mouth right now.
All right.
Just for the simple fact that from the facts that I've heard is there was an altercation. He was reaching for his gun, and why should cops feel like they should have to reach for their guns? Because nobody has respect for their authority anymore. They come at them. Cops are in danger more now than they ever have been, because nobody gives a flying fuck about authority. Nobody cares. Everyone wants to do whatever they want to do, and that's it. I can be a criminal, I can be a thug, I can make money selling drugs, I can do whatever the fuck I want, and that's fine. When the police try to stop me, I'll just shoot at them.
I think
whether
you
I
just
got a gun or not, it's just there's no respect for authority.
I think you just stumbled onto something, though, probably by accident, but I think that it's the issue here. The drug war. There is no anti-authority. There is no fuck cops attitude if there's not a war on drugs, or there's much less of one anyway. And there's not this racism part of it is thrown out a bit too, because the black community is the one that is hurt more by the war on drugs. That's just a fact. Whether it's because of their culture or whatever, that we can maybe debate. But the fact is there's a ton of black people in jail, and by proportion, it's way out of proportion, and that is a drug war thing. And I think that maybe that contributes to this screw the power, because everyone realizes that, maybe you disagree with this, but I think that the drug war is completely nonsense and needs to be gotten rid of. And that makes it really easy to say screw authority if you have that mentality.
It depends on the drug war you're talking. I mean, do we want a bunch of people blowing rails down here at our local establishment that we're sitting in right now? I don't think so. I mean,
I would bet you a couple people blew a couple rails before they got here tonight.
It's a possibility, but I'm glad it's illegal. You know,
why? What does cocaine being illegal do for you?
You look at Colorado, they're onto something. They're taxing dope.
Yep.
I mean, multi-million-dollar industry.
Multi-billion-dollar industry.
Healthier than tobacco, from what I've heard.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't dabble in any of it.
Sure.
I'm very clean individual, but Colorado might be onto something. Problem is they can't put their money anywhere.
What do you mean?
They're building vaults in Colorado for their money. They can't put it in federal banks.
Oh, sure, of course, because it's not sanctioned by the federal government.
Yeah.
But you're making my point, I think. I mean, if you can do it right, where you legalize it, you control it, you tax it, there's a way where all drugs can be legal.
Drugs in the real world. It's not happening.
It's happening in Amsterdam.
We made it through.
Works there.
Sure. So does
it works in Spain and Portugal.
Sure, does pouring it out on a regular basis. That works in Amsterdam too. And everybody dies.
I think prostitution should be legal too. But
there'd be a lot less rapes in the world.
Well,
I bet.
Well, see, now we have less rape and we have less drug crime because of the two laws that I want to get rid of. What do you?
All positives.
Where are the negatives?
All positives. You'd have to go on a lot less dates that don't make it to date number 2. These are all positives. There's got to be law and order, for Christ's sakes. Are you serious?
No, I'm absolutely serious about the drug war. I don't think you can have law and order until you get rid of the war on drugs, honestly. But that's if you hear the music, that's because we're running out of time here. So, Ben, thank you so much for stopping down. Thank you for the wild talk. And I knew that you would have a different perspective on this. So thank you for not just making me a blowhard and telling everybody I'm always right. So
thanks for having
never
me,
want that. And you're welcome to come back anytime. And we will be back next week. Right here at Burger Mo's, and we will be back at O'Gara's on Thursday night. So thank you to Ben. Molly's not here, but thank you, Molly. Happy holidays, and we will talk to all of you next week.